I'm not ready. I'm not ready for what you want of me. I haven't packed my stuff. I haven't buckled my straps and my belts. I'm not ready. I haven't a voice to speak. My lungs have been shot full of holes, and a dry desert wind blows through. They brought me a birthday cake. It was pink, and it was blue, and it had white frosting on the top. I looked at it in my bedroom with my glassy eyes. The sunlight shone in and came up around their heads and left an orange, sunny fringe around their silhouettes. I reached for my fork and my spoon and my paper napkin with that frilly lace. Now he stood in a corner, that liar and that cheat, with his fancy glasses and coat and copycat grin. And he looked at me and smiled. And I looked at him. You must watch out. Now inside that cake was an angel made of salt and light. And inside that angel was a small wolf with fire in his eyes. And he spoke the truth, and he led the way. And I hoped that I was beginning to understand. And when I closed my eyes, I felt no pain. Now the rocket engines, they rumbled into their fiery existence, and the heat made me feel like I was going to be okay. And the vibrations soothed my aching bones. And when I closed my eyes, I felt no pain. And I was shaking deep into my core. And I took a breath once more. And I knew soon I was going to be home. We're okay, right? We're okay, right? I'm ready. I'm ready. And my name is Kyle Black Cat Tips Brooks. And that's me up there. Thank you. And I recently moved to Arabian Mountain, USA. That's a picture of it right there. And that lady moved with me. She's my sweet wife, and that's her catching the train out to Arabian Mountain, USA. And today I'm supposed to talk to you about weird and being weird. And people have been writing me and saying, hey, man, you're going to be weird? You're going to talk about weird? And I think they thought this was going to be like the Gong Show, like I'm going to break a bottle on my head and eat a spoonful of dirt. But it's just me. I'm just going to talk to you. So weird, you know, it's almost September, and in a couple months, it's going to be Halloween. And then in a couple more months, it's going to be Christmas. And then right after that, it'll be so cold, I'll need my big coat, and the kudzu will be dead, and it'll be my birthday. And to think about that's real weird. I think it is. Good, y'all are laughing. I'm glad. Now, when Blake said, hey, Kyle, you want to come talk about weird, I thought about weird people. And the first thing I thought about, unfortunately, was that dude. I don't know why. So I Googled lizard man, and there he was. But I don't want to talk about him anymore, because that's freaky weird, and that's what, I'm not here for that. So that's me being a little weird back in the past. I used to get left alone a lot, and I started growing my beard, and I'd take beard a day pictures. So there's one. And then I got a little more weird. I'm supposed to be home doing chores and stuff, and I'm dressing up like that. And then I got into the glitter one time. And then I kind of settled on a happy, friendly weird. Now, I think I like that one. I like that one pretty good. And sometimes I need a little motivating. And I'll wake up and be in a rut or not feeling too good. I need something to kickstart me, get me going. So I found this motivational speaker online, and you might think he's a little weird, but he's really good. He's got a lot of good life lessons. Really smart guy. So there he is up there.
I inherited the money. I inherited the God-given.
Oh, he's getting it. Look at him.
Today. And with this, I dress myself.
Oh, it all to him right there. Old Rick.
Yeah, I dress myself in $100 freedom flag.
Work it, Rick.
I dress myself in alligator shoes. I wear a $15,000 Rolex.
Yeah.
I got Mercedes-Benz, Rolls-Royce.
Well, I showed up in my overalls in my Rolls Royce. Now listen, let's talk about some more weird things. I don't got that much time. Water. Water's weird to me. You ever think about water? It weighs 8 pounds a gallon, roughly. And I like 5-gallon buckets, and that holds about 40 pounds. Now, in a thunderstorm coming down, you dip down and you can fill that up in the gutter in no time. And if all y'all came out to your gutters with 5-gallon buckets and filled them up, that's a lot of pounds. That's a lot of weight. And just a few minutes before, that water was up in the air. Now, don't you think that's weird? How did it stay up there? And how about this? Here's some more weird stuff. I feel like a stand-up comedian today. Sometimes you're listening to a song, right? You might have listened to it 100 times. I love that song. And then you're riding around in your car listening to this song, and you get a little misty-eyed. Something about it hits you wrong or good. Next thing you know, maybe you almost cried listening to this song. You're like, what in the world? It's just a song. I see a song's just vibrations and echoes and reverb. And how in the world does that make you have an emotion and cry? I don't know. See this thing right here? This is called a somatic. And somatics is the studies of vibrations and tones and the way that they vibrate. And so this pattern is made like through sand, and they'll put certain tones on it, and they can switch the tones, and it'll change up. So all that's going through your head and made you feel good or weird or made you cry. But I think that looks a lot like a flower. I think it looks like the cross-section of a tree or a stem. There's another one that kind of looks like a snowflake. All these organic patterns, just something running through nature. Then you look at another pattern from nature, and that's a leaf, if you can't tell. Maybe it's a goblin skin. But that pattern in there, those veins, to me it looks a lot like that, like a crack in the sidewalk. And that crack in the sidewalk, to me, looks a lot like a riverbed. And then another riverbed. I think that's real interesting. And then look at this one. This is a Mississippi, Louisiana delta from way up in the air. And when you look at that for a minute, it looks like the inside of a pair of lungs. And I think it'd make a good country song to sing about my Mississippi Delta lungs. Maybe I'll work on it later. And that's that big old ball that we're on. And all that stuff that you ever known is in that big blue ball. And it spins around, and it goes through space. And for however many thousands of years we've been going around on it, it doesn't get out of line. It does just right day after day. Nobody adjusts it. We can't even adjust it if we want to. And that's a little bit weird to me, too. And I also thought, wouldn't it be weird if you went to bed and then that thing at night rolled over like a weird marble? But it doesn't do it. Doesn't do it. Now, sea monkeys are weird to me. And I always wondered about a spirit. I've always thought about spirits and wondered what a spirit looked like. And I always thought of like this rainbow-colored sea monkey. And so when I was putting this talk together, I remembered some of these pictures. So I looked it up, and you got that. And I never really realized till I looked that up that sea monkey mamas have such nice long legs. Look at them legs. So I just want to say, way to go, sea monkey mama. But in that ad up there, it says sea monkeys A bowl full of happiness. And that's what I want. I want me a bowl full of happiness. Now, Blake said, don't come up here and read your notes. I'm not going to. I'm just going to coast by them a minute. So what, I got to talk about weird. What is weird to me? Weird's not the lizard man to me. Weird's not this or that. What is weird to me? Kyle Brooks. And I started thinking about it. So the opposite of weird is normal. So I started thinking about normal. What's that? And normal is taught to us. Normal's ingrained in us. We got normal right from the start. There's comfort in numbers. There's a herd mentality. And that herd is real strong. And these ties, these social ties are really, really strong. And they teach us right from the start to fit in and do these things. And that's okay. You got social cues that people feed off of. You fit in a certain kind of group, same kind of hairdo, drive a similar kind of car. You like to live in a neighborhood because it makes us feel good. It's acceptable. Normal is okay, but normal is not weird. And I think I want to be weird. And I'll tell you why. If I get the right slide there. Which one is it? There we go. Boom. Because normal or weird is freedom. And freedom leads to happiness. And after thinking about it for all these weeks, by golly, I want to be happy. So let's be a little weird. And let's get our slides right. And so quickly, I'm going to tell y'all about how I got started on my path to weird. I got a book deal way back when, and I got it with Delta Airlines, and I drew them a picture. It's called Airplanes and Helicopters. And then I drew a barn. And then a long time later, I was in my basement apartment, and I had an office job, and that was a change in my life. And I didn't have much to do, so I started painting in the evenings. And I would paint a little bit here, a little bit there. And at this point in my life, I decided I'm going to paint, and I'm going to paint non-judgmental. I'm going to paint for fun. I'm not going to worry about how it turns out. Because before, I'd done some landscapes and struggled with being perfect, and that just wasn't fun to me. So I wanted to be a little bit different. So I started painting these pictures. And I'd paint one every couple months. And I painted for a long time. And nobody knew that I was painting, just my family, my friends, and a few people that had seen them. I didn't do anything with them. I didn't sell them. Didn't really know what to do with them, but I just kept painting. And they stacked up on me, and I didn't know what I was going to do with them. But I kept painting. And then things got a little bit weird for me. And I thought, what am I going to do with all these? I could throw them in a ditch. I could be dramatic and set them on fire. I didn't want all that clutter. I didn't know what to do. So then I decided that I'd get a little bit weird, and I'd do what I came to call cannibalize them. Well, if I can't get rid of them as they are, I'll just paint some more stuff on them. So I was blessed with this little character that came to see me one day. And then I tweaked that character just a little bit. And that bear came to me, and that bear's been my buddy for a while and helped kind of change my life. And I started painting that bear in different ways on old paintings. I started painting them on all kind of things and got kind of obsessive about it. I started painting them beside the road and on found objects. I would take a little paint with me on my errands and go in the store, and then when I came out, I might see an opportunity, so I'd decorate something for somebody that's sitting there. The man took a lunch break and came back, and he had a fresh painted door. And I'm still painting them. I want to keep evolving all the time, keep changing. That's one I did the other day. There's a man I met, a friend named Plumbing Man, and he's kind of a street folk artist too. And I decorated some of his guerrilla advertisements. At the time, I don't know that he was amused with me, but we made up since. But I did not know that he was a licensed concrete salesman. So some of my art kept disappearing or going away or just falling down. And I thought, if I'm going to make this stuff and spend all this time working on it, I want it to last. I want more people to see it so more people can be weirded out, be confused by it, wonder what it is, have their own little connection. So I thought, you know what? Those roadside memorials work. People next to the road, they put those crosses up. And it's kind of weird because usually something bad happened there. Somebody died. I don't know. People don't want nothing to do with it, so they back off. They leave them alone. So I made some bear memorials. And I started putting them up along the highways and the roads and on hills and stuff where people could see them. And this is definitely something weird and different. But you know what? It started to work. Kind of. So I made all kind of them. I put them on trees. I made them out of wood people would give me. I went down to Alabama, left some down there. I did not play a banjo. Later on, I tried to change tactics, and I put these around 285. They're a little bit bigger. And it's probably not a safe thing to do to borrow your mom's van full of big fake crosses and stop on the side of 285. But I made little memorials on these. I thought, well, if they're going to take them, I could at least write something. Then they won't take it. But I made ones for people that in my family passed on, loved ones, friends, just little messages like that. And that worked for a bit. And they got all these signs next to the intersections that the county comes and picks up and throws out. And I thought I could go get them before the county gets them and decorate them and put them back up. And that'd be good. So they'd say stuff like junk cards for cash, or who's your daddy, or we buy nasty houses. So I made one cash for hugs and put it back out. I did that a lot. And then there's a school, and it's Turning Sun School. It's a school for tiny kids, and they've been real good to me for a long time. But the kids that go there are about that tall, and they wanted to build a fence, and fences come about this tall. So they cut that fence off. And they called up me and they said, Kyle Brooks, we got a half a fence for you. You want it? I said, okay, I'll take it. So I took the half a fence and I started making these things I now call street poems. And so I took writings I had or little phrases, or I'm sitting in traffic and I think of this. So I go back to that spot and put up a message. I always wanted a mule, so I made a mule sign. I made so many of these. But then the weird snuck up on me again. And I was putting up a sign, and I was up on the ladder, and these old Jake legs were yelling at me going by, and my beard was blowing in the wind. And I get down off the ladder, and I was going to say, call your mom. And it came out wrong. Call Mom Muir. But I thought, you know what? I'm not getting back up there, and that's a good accident. And I'm going to go with it because it's weird and it's a little blessing. So then what I started doing was taking all my words and chopping them up and laying out all the things I'd painted on the ground. And then I started seeing these magic little connections between all of them. And that was nice, and that was different, and that was weird. So I started putting them up. And here's one I did. I happened to put it by a country and western bar in kind of a seedy area, and this man wandered up to me. He said, hey, man, what's that mean? And what is that? And I said, I don't know, sir, but if there was ever a floozy manhole, it happened in that place right over there. So I made a bunch of these. I still make them. I carry them around in my truck. I've changed the way I do errands. I now have a ladder and tools, and I can't just do errands. I got to stop on the way. So I made a lot of them. Now, did y'all know the Varsity right down the street here used to serve a lamb eyes platter? And it was pretty good for a while, but it didn't sell that many, so they took it off the menu. And probably because it screwed with people's green girly figure. But I would like to say that I do like to dip their fries in the Jesus and Mary sauce. That's pretty good to me. And I told you I moved to Arabian Mountain, and they will not pick up my trash out there, and that's completely true. So I've gotten used to calling DeKalb County, and I said, ma'am, they will not pick up my trash. And she said, sir, it's because you got a baked trash man. And I said, all right, I'll just roll it back to the garage. And this morning, we had to get up mighty early, so I forgot my sleep. Oh, get out of here, dude. All right, so becoming weird. This section is called Becoming Weird, or, let me coast by him again, Bobby the Cicada. Bobby the Cicada. Y'all know what a cicada is? It's that little old crunchy bug. And that's his shell. And so a cicada's in the ground for 13 or 17 years. And I kind of thought about it, and I think the 17-year ones, they might just be a little lazy. Like, dude, I'm going to lay in the mud a little bit longer. I'll see you in a few years. So the other day, this is actually a real live video here. I made it. We were sitting outside, and for the first time in my life, I saw a cicada in the shell part walking around. And he was like headbutting a concrete block. So my wife saw it, and we picked it up, and I put him on that post. And there he is crawling up. And I had never seen that, but he's got his little lobster arms and his little shiny goggles. But he's down in the ground. So Bobby's down in the ground, Bobby the cicada, and he gets a phone call. And he's in his tube, and it's his weird, mysterious voice. And he picks up the phone, hello, and says, okay, I got to get up. So that's cicada talk to you. He comes up his tube and comes out. He has his mission. He crawls and goes up a pole or a tree, and then he turns into that thing. And he's done this transformation. And I don't know if you know, but these at night, that's what you hear. They sound like an old school internet dial-up connection. Like that. But that's just the way they talk. But I'm telling you about Bobby the cicada for a reason, because I feel like I'm like Bobby the cicada. You see, I used to live down in the mud. And I used to live down in the ground. And then I got this message. I got this call. I got this weird signal. Start doing this instead of this. Or go this way instead of this way. Or think about these regular things in a new way. And I feel like I've come out of my shell. I left my extra crispy shell. And I hung it back here on a coat hanger if y'all want to look later. But I don't have wings or anything, but I feel like I'm a similar transformation to this Bobby, and that voice is called to me. And you say, well, what is that voice? And I think the voice is what I've come up with a little term, the spirit of inspiration. So I got a theory for that too. I thought of this recently because I'm like, where do these signals come from? Where is that guy on the telephone? Where's he calling from? And I don't know if y'all ever read the Bible, but in the Old Testament of the Bible, the Holy Spirit will come down on these people. And they'd be regular-ish people, but there'd be a task for them. And what it says is they would come down on them, and they'd do these great things. They'd do a miracle. They'd give a speech. They'd help out their people. And then when the task was done, whoosh, Spirit went back away, and they were kind of normal again. And I thought that that's kind of like the spirit of inspiration might work. Because sometimes I got nothing. I got a deadline, or I just want to paint. I got all these ideas, but nothing will come out of my hand. It's very frustrating. And then, out of the blue, for no reason, a few days later, the wind's different, the clouds are different. All of a sudden, boom, it comes out. And I'm drawing, I'm painting, I got all these ideas, and I don't know where it came from. The only thing I can think is that it's from some other place. And it comes down, and it flows through us, and flew out my hand if I'm lucky. And that's the spirit of inspiration that I think about all the time. And I think it might look like that. But these ideas come out, like that one the other day. I wasn't planning on making that, but it just happened. So think about this real quick. What about all these inventions throughout humanity, right? Your iPhone, the light bulb, heck, the wheel way back, the car. What about the airplane? Men that lived on this earth since men started, and they didn't fly, and then one day, where'd that thought come from? It showed up. They had their antenna up. And I think that we all need to have our antenna up. I think we need to have our phone, if we will, turned on. Don't have it on vibrate. Don't have it on silent. You got to have your phone on, because that Spirit speaks to me, and y'all all creative people. I know it's speaking to a few. And you could ignore it and let that wind go right past you, or you could have that antenna up and think about it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to think about it, and I want y'all to do the same thing. All right. Now, Blake brought me this darn chair here, and I'm going to use it. I wasn't planning on it, but I'm going to use it. So where does that leave me? Yeah, that bearded dude right there, standing there with a hammer and my pie sign. How does this leave me on my weird path? Well, I'm going to be a little crazy, maybe a lot crazy. I'm going to grow a long beard. I'm going to take chances when it feels right. I like rocking. I'm going to listen to that signal that's coming down. I'm going to keep my antenna real high. Maybe I'll even get a booster. I'm going to make more signs. I'm going to talk to the people I meet by the road. And you never know, these people that show up, I always get scared at first, think I'm going to get in trouble, and they end up being a good story. They always got some interesting thing to tell me. I'm going to make people laugh, if they will. I'm going to sing them some funny songs. And I'm going to listen to that weirdo mystery that keeps talking in my ear and see what I can do with it. I'm going to eat crunchy snacks. I like some crunchy snacks. And I'm going to think about those sea monkeys and how I can find my bowl full of happiness. Because I really do want that. I want a bowl full of happiness. And the first step that I think we can do is just to listen. Listen to that weird. Now rise up. Rise up and see the mountain. Is that mountain in your mind? Look out there to where you need to be. And seek the solace of things higher than yourself, and bigger than your life. A gravestone reminds you. A little flower down there reminds you. A thunderstorm piled miles high up there in the sky reminds you. Listen and breathe and learn from the silence. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Kyle. Man, that was awesome. We're going to do a couple questions, Q&A with Kyle. So if you have a question, raise your hand. Molly over here will run you one mic, or I'll be over here and run you another one. So if you have a question, just raise your hand.
Good questions. I want good ones.
I got one for you. I heard that you recently painted a hot dog shop. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, I happen to have a slide right there. Look at that thing. I got a buddy, and he had a hot dog shop, and he said, "Hey, Mr. Black Cat Tips, can you paint a hobo hot dog?" And I said, "Not only can I paint a hobo hot dog, but I can write you a song about it. Hobo town, let's all go to Hobo town. Hobo town, let's all go to Hobo town. You'll be happy, you won't frown when you go to Hobo town. Hobo town, let's all go to Hobo town. 1 foot up and 1 foot down, you'll do a little jig in Hobo town. You'll have a good time in Hobo town." He paid me for the painting, but he didn't pay me a dime for that song. All right, let's get us a real question. Where are they? I can't even see back there.
There's one back there. Oh. Hey, Richard, just shout out your question.
Hey.
Where are you from originally, and how do you get back to do you carry a lot of home with you?
A lot of home?
Like, where were you born?
Whew, getting all personal. No. I've lived all my life in the Atlanta area, mostly on the east and south side, Decatur, Henry County. But I'll let y'all know a little secret to shake you up. I was born in Columbus, Ohio. My dad was in the Air Force, but I don't know what it looks like and hadn't been back since I was smaller than those kids at that school. But I've grown up in Atlanta. All my family's from Atlanta. What's left of them are in Fayetteville, a couple out toward the Lake Sinclair. But yes, sir, Atlanta. That crazy old Atlanta we seem to like. There's a big magnet in it, too. Sucks me back. I can't get away. I tried. All right, and is that good? Good answer for you? All right. I aiming to please. Yes. It's Asian. No, it came out of an early version of those street poems. I made a bunch of words, and I like the way words work together and mix and mingle, and there's a power in them. And there's just something about those different things hooking together and how they can mean one thing to me and one thing to somebody else. And I was just playing silly games, came up with a fun name. I thought about like a cat made of Nerf, and you chop him up, make like a weird casserole with little tips in it. I like Muppets and cartoons, and I just thought of this soft little chopped up puppet cat. Now write that down, chopped up puppet cat. People get that name mixed up, and they've come up with a few slightly off versions of it. I can't, there might be children in here. I can't repeat some of them, but it's okay. We'll go with it. Just say, hey, you with the red beard and the feather.
Okay, we have a question over here.
You like to play with a lot of words, obviously, so what's your favorite word?
My favorite word? I was asked my favorite word in maybe like 4th grade, and I said melancholy. That's a weird word for a 4th grader. I don't know why, but I always like that word. I'll stick with that.
So what, or, now I'm like nervous.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Here, will you want to look at my notes with me?
Oh, no, good. So have you ever ignored the weird, and what would you say to someone who's scared to reach for that weird?
Don't go lizard man on me. Well, you got to look inside yourself, and maybe there's just a little something you've been wanting to do. It's a little out of your comfort zone. Just start with a little bit. You don't got to go full-fledged weird. Just something different for yourself. I think that'd be a start. I don't know what that is for you, but for me, a lot of people ask me, well, how do you do this, or how do you do this, or do you get permission for this? And I always, in situations like that, I just go, if I don't feel right, it's got to feel good to me, comfortable to me, whatever it is, and then I do it. And if it doesn't seem right, I go back home and start over. Used to in college, I went to college, and sometimes I'd go to early morning class, and I wouldn't feel good. I wouldn't feel good in what I was wearing, and I don't like that. So I'd go back and push the reset button, take another shower, and put on another outfit, and then I felt better. So anyway, what I'm saying is, just do a little bit. If that doesn't feel right, you can start over and try something else. But don't go all hog wild right from the start. I always wanted to give a speech and say hog wild. I just did it. All right, any more? Yes. I got laid off. I was painting already. I was painting at home, but where I worked was a slightly creative job. At that time, I was working for a check printing company, and I'd like clean up really bad logos for a company to put on their checks. But I did that and got laid off after a long time, and I was painting and trying stuff, but working there. And then I did some freelance work. Met that dude right there, my freelance work. And met my wife there too. And that job, they laid me off from there. I had a bad record. And but no, I kept getting work, but the work kept dwindling away. And I was doing my art more and more and more. It was kind of going like that. And at some point, my wife, Maria, said, you should just do this. Give it 6 months. Try this for 6 months. And I said, okay. So I did a trial and did it for 6 months and tried real, real hard. And then we extended my trial. And I actually thought maybe this ain't going to work. I don't know. But if I hadn't started trying, I definitely wouldn't have known. But we just kept trying things and learning from mistakes. And I'm still going. And now I'm talking about being weird.
Let's do one more question.
And wait a minute. There's a fella named John Mitchell out here somewhere, and I don't know where he is, but I just want to say hello to you. Have a good day, John Mitchell. There he is. All right.
Okay, we have one last question over here.
Okay. I need binoculars.
This is a two-part question, Kyle.
Okay.
First, can you talk about that time you went to Alaska?
I know you.
And then B, what are you up to this weekend?
Well, I'll answer that one first. I'm going to change gears and relax a little. I've been we moved to that new house, and then I've been working before I even set up any of the house on my big solo show, which is going on right now at the Art Institute of Atlanta. Yep. Y'all should check that out. It goes through September 17th, and I took over 100 new pieces of work up there. So go up there. It's the one on 400 at Dunwoody. Check it out. But I did that, and then I started getting ready for this silly thing. And so after this, I'm going to breathe. I got some new grass I got to cut. I want to work. I got a property with a barn and some things I want to start working on. So I got some art to make, but I want to start a relaxing. Now, Alaska, what was the question? What did I do there? Or talk about it. Well, it's way up north to Alaska. North, the rush is on. Y'all know that song? I went to Alaska. I was trying to, once again, restart my life, reboot my life, and I thought I'm going to try to get away and try something. So I found an ad in the back of a backpacker magazine, did a little phone interview, and next thing you knew, I was flying on the buddy pass up to Fairbanks, Alaska, and I hadn't been that far, and it was very interesting, but I lived there for 6 months. I went to be a waiter in a flying lodge, and I found out they didn't really have waiters, so a little French lady had me starting to change sheets and beds, and I said, no. So I opted for the same pay to wash dishes, and that was much better. But I saw all kind of animals and all these National Geographic moments, and I haven't been back, and I don't know why. If anybody wants to take me, let's go. But it was a life-changing moment, a new page for me, for sure. I got too close to a bear and got yelled at. But yeah, Alaska's good. I'd go back if I could. Maybe they need some street poems.